Meet Serena, your virtual companion for emotional support. The ultimate safe space to discuss your thoughts, your fears, and the ups and downs of daily life. Start your free trial today at serena.chat.
Am I the asshole for passing out at a party? Edit. I added more information that was more important. I, 18 female, and my ex-boyfriend, 18 male. Let's call him M. Had been together for 3 months before I invited him to a Halloween party since he was bored and wanted to go out with my cousin and sister. As I don't usually drink when I go out with M, I told him I wanted to drink with him tonight, and we could all just get an Uber home to my apartment after. I'm not a daily drinker where he's more of an everyday drinker, and that causes him to be with me at my apartment 80% of the time. Getting ready for the party, I started to feel unwell. Due to me being anemic with a few other health problems, I decided to take my medication. 30 minutes after taking the medication, we decided to take a couple sips vodka. I didn't realize the mistake I made of drinking until later on our way to the party. M was already there. I was already feeling slightly unwell on the way to the party, but I didn't think it as much. I thought it was the Chinese food we got before we get to the party. I walk in and I see M, so I hang out with him for a few minutes and greeting him with some friends of mine. Please keep in mind this was a party full of people I knew, not so much M as he lived in a different town. This is important later on. At this point M is with a couple dudes from the party. As I'm seeing more people, I'm drinking more, but not enough to get me shit-faced. An hour or so passes and as I'm sitting at the table, I don't feel right. So I excuse myself to the bathroom, and my sister follows me. I instantly start throwing up and become very lightheaded and dizzy. My sister is holding my hair for me as I throw up, while M then knocks on the door concerned. My sister tells him not to come in while I'm puking, so he respects my sister's wishes, which I'm glad as I'm sure it wasn't a pretty sight. Once I've finished throwing up, I am constantly telling my sister I don't feel right, and since all the bedrooms were closed off for the party she told me to lay in the shower, and helps me over. She gets me a blanket and a bottle of water. I wasn't really fully conscious, although I could hear people coming in at times. My sister comes in to tell me M was asking if I was okay, where she told him why I'm so sick, and then leaves me for a bit. An hour passes, and I'm finally able to get up and drink some water and exit the bathroom, and about 5 minutes into me being awake one of my friends tells me that M had left the party. M was supposed to come back to my house after the party, so I was a bit confused, so I texted him and he told me he had just left because I was passed out. At this point I feel a bit upset. He said that the one time he went in he tried to check on me, but I wasn't very verbal and said that I looked like a crackhead, with me being passed out. I was pretty upset by this. I wasn't just shit-faced drunk. My body was shaking and I couldn't even open my water bottle to drink it. I was honestly pretty scared and I had asked for him a few times, but I'm not sure if he had already left by then. I told him I could have been taken advantage of, but he just didn't seem to care about that, and more so the fact that I passed out at a party where he didn't know many people and he felt alone. I felt bad that he felt alone, but I also didn't expect him to leave where I usually am always taking care of him when he's intoxicated, even at my own apartment. I know I was stupid. I know it was irresponsible of me to take medication and then proceed to drink. And I explained the situation to him. After that I left him because he still didn't think he was wrong. I just can't see past what he did. If he had been in my shoes I would have stuck by him. Am I the asshole? You are the asshole for trying to make him into the bad guy here. Saying, I could have been taken advantage of, is ridiculously unfair. You were the one who decided to 1. Drink while on meds, 2. Walk off from your boyfriend because you knew other people, even though you knew he didn't know many people there. Also, your sister was seemingly with you throughout your ordeal. Don't try to guilt-trip your boyfriend just because he didn't behave the way you wanted him to. You are the asshole. Drinking to excess on an empty stomach medication at a house party is the very definition of reckless behavior. I know I was stupid. I know it was irresponsible of me to take medication and then proceed to drink. You're young. Please take your safety more seriously. You know the statistics. You are the asshole. You are the asshole. So you were completely irresponsible with booze plus meds and then expect others to jump at your every whim and forego their plans to clean up your mess? Absolutely understand you boyfriend that he doesn't want to hang out with someone who doesn't know her own limits when it comes to alcohol. And the I could have taken advantage of, come on. As far as your boyfriend was aware, your sister was there as well to take care of you. So he didn't leave you all by yourself in a place where you didn't know anyone. He left you with your sister and your friends. Apologize to him and don't drink with meds. Info. Wasn't your sister there at the party with you? Am I the asshole for giving my mom an ultimatum? I, 20F, am in college out of state, but I usually come home for breaks and stay with my parents. The last several times I came home for a break, however, my brother, 16M, was verbally aggressive and hostile to me. For context, I dealt with mental health issues in high school and often took them out on him, verbally, not physically. I recognize that my issues are no excuse and have apologized to him repeatedly, but it doesn't seem to matter. He constantly tells me how horrible of a person I am and how I ruined his life. He will also mock my personal traumas and yell at me to shut up literally any time I speak. My parents do nothing when they see this happen. Apparently, they wanted us to work it out ourselves. I have been telling them for months now that working it out ourselves isn't possible and they need to intervene because I've done everything I possibly can to be kind and not provoke my brother. I have begged them to at least tell him to stop, just to prove to me that they don't think it's okay. They have refused. Before I left for college last month, with the help of my therapist, I told my mom that I would not be coming home for the next break from school unless my brother's behavior improved. I also told them that he needs to be in therapy for these issues, because frankly, the way I treated him years ago does not warrant him thinking it ruined his life. Today, my mom called to talk about flight tickets home for fall break. I asked her if my brother was in therapy, and she refused to answer. I took this to mean that they weren't even trying to find a therapist for him and asked if they were doing anything at all regarding his behavior. Again, she refused to answer. I told her that I wouldn't be coming home, and that she was making the decision to not have me come home by refusing to address my brother's behavior. I then told her that I was embarrassed to have her as a mother and not to call or text me unless she put my brother in therapy. So now I feel shitty about not coming home for break. I don't want to go back to that situation with my brother, but I know I'd be letting my whole family down, and I feel bad about giving an ultimatum. Am I the asshole? Edit. Okay. Clearly I left out some important things, so let me clarify a bit. 1. I'm 19, not 20. I tend to alter minor details in posts like these just in case someone I know finds it. That's the only detail I changed. It's weird, sorry. 2. Everything that I described happened during my senior year of high school. I was 17 and he was 14-15, so we were both teenagers and both underage. It was not, as some people are saying, a lifetime of abuse. 3. Neither my parents nor my brother have accused me of abuse or bullying. Whether you think I abused or bullied my brother is up to you. That's why I'm on Am I the Asshole in the first place. But personally, I think if I was truly an abuser, my parents or therapist would have said as much. 4. I was going through a traumatic experience while all of this was happening. I know it doesn't excuse my behavior, but it does explain it. That's why I don't remember all of the details of what I did to my brother. I ended up being diagnosed with autism shortly after my 18th birthday. What my brother calls tantrums were actually autistic meltdowns. None of that absolves me of judgment, obviously. Just wanted to clear things up. And for those of you telling me I'm downplaying my brother's experience, you're right. He does feel that I ruined his life and I need to acknowledge that. It doesn't matter if I don't think the way I treated him was that bad or not. For what it's worth, I have never said that the reaction was unwarranted to my brother, only to my parents and therapist. You are the asshole. You were fine until you told her you were embarrassed that she's your mother. Also, why are you letting yourself off the hook for the abuse you hurled at your brother? You were older, and no one was protecting him from you. He couldn't just escape your abuse by not coming home. You think his current behavior is so bad that you need to separate yourself from it, but you think he should just get over the years of abuse you subjected him to. This makes me think your apologies to him are fairly hollow, and you do not recognize how very much damage you did to him. You are the asshole. Your apology doesn't mean you're entitled to his forgiveness. Also, the way you speak to your mother makes me believe your verbally abusive behavior really hasn't changed much at all. He's probably still dealing with it to this day, poor guy. YTA. Your brother suffered PTSD from you. This is what happens. You are the asshole. You took all your emotions out on him. He had trauma because of you and now you expect him to kiss your $1 over your trauma? None of your business if he is in therapy other than you should be offering to pay for what you did. While you were away from home he finally felt safe in his own home. Then you, the abuser, shows up and tell him to more or less get over it. Yes, you need to stay away from home. It is the only way your victim will feel safe in his own home. Info. When you were abusing your brother, did your parents send you to therapy or try to change your behavior? Am I the asshole for asking my niece if she knows what she's talking about? My sister has 2 kids, John chapter 15 and Annie 16. They're complete opposites. John's more generic, pretty much what you think of when you think 15-yo boy that does sports. Annie's more on the doesn't fit in side, or at least that's what she thinks. Anyways, my sister called me last night and asked if I could take John for a couple nights. I said of course and asked why, and she told me that Annie crossed a line. Now, John's report card from last year wasn't very good. He was pretty embarrassed by it, but there was an underlying reason. He goes into these depression slumps often, and yeah, my sister and her husband are talking to professionals, but it's taking a very long time to get somewhere. Annie is aware of this and hasn't really expressed any concern, but we figured she just doesn't get the seriousness of it. Well, apparently she took pictures of John's report card and posted it on her Snap story. Most people didn't care, but a select few, Annie's best friends, tried to make it this big thing. John and Annie have each other blocked, but John's friends texted him about it and John got really upset. They had a massive fight and Annie said some horrible things about how he's just an idiot that's faking his slumps. She said things like, "I'm the one that mom and dad should care about, not your privileged ass." It was overall a very bad fight, and my sister wants to get to the bottom of Annie's comments, but she also doesn't want to subject John to Annie any longer. So I went to pick John up, and while I was talking to my sister about the next few nights, Annie came out of her bedroom yelling at me and asking me if I'm taking John's side too. I didn't say anything, which upset her even more, and she said, "I need someone on my side too. You're all taking his side because he's pretending to have depression, and I assumed you would be smarter about this considering how intelligent you are, but you're also just another victim of misogyny." My sister seemed to be at a loss for words, and I just went, "Do you even know what you're talking about?" This struck a nerve in Annie, and she was like, "Of course I fucking do. I'm a woman. I've been dealing with misogyny all my life, and you questioning me like this just proves that you're just like all the other women in this goddamn country. You're a woman. How dare you question my experience," or whatever else she said. She was using big words throughout, and honestly she does have a point, but it doesn't apply in this situation in my opinion. Either way, she actually made a TikTok about how her family is misogynistic etc. and used my "do you even know what you're talking about" thing as her main example, and though this account is private, she has a couple hundred followers that seem horrified by what I said. I know this because Annie has been sending me screenshots of these comments. Am I the asshole? Edit. Just wanted to clarify that niece is not and was not being neglected because of John. My sister doesn't favor John, and no one expects my niece to drop everything for her brother. I don't think people understand, but John did need extra attention for a while because his mental state was so unstable and he was in hospital. But Annie was never neglected. After he got out of the danger zone, a parent was always at home. They even had multiple heart-to-hearts with Annie about how she felt etc. No one's perfect, and I'm not saying we didn't make mistakes, but my sister's doing her best for both of her kids during this very difficult time. Please don't make assumptions about how bad of a mother my sister is, because she isn't a bad mom. She's a misandrist. Lovely. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I'm NGL. There are too many kids being indoctrinated by social media and other sources which aren't exactly accurate. Woozy face. Not the asshole. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She isn't a victim of misogyny in this case, she was bullying her little brother. Your sister is handling it well, and you are a good aunt for stepping in to help. Not the asshole. John should be the one at home in his own bedroom. Annie should be the one leaving for a while and going counseling to learn why she is wrong. It's a shame they punish the depressed child to passing the entitled bully child. Not the asshole. Your niece obviously needs to be in therapy as well. Am I the asshole for demanding my husband quit his job? Update 2. I just got off the phone with my husband. We talked for a while. Naturally he's quite upset and is feeling rather defensive, but he is very sorry. That is not an easy thing for him to say, yet he said it very clearly multiple times. He is going to try to catch a flight home tomorrow. He going to take a week or 2 off work to help me get some things set up in place for me. Hiring some house cleaning and some babysitting. He encouraged me to take time off work as well and to just stop thinking about finances for right now. He said he'll deal with it for a while. He says whenever I go back to work it won't be like it was. He will help me. He'll make sure I have some extra money and extra time. I could cry with relief. I am crying with relief, loudly crying, loudly crying, loudly crying. Update. I sent this to my husband. A lot of people are saying he abuses me. I know in my heart this is not his intention. He is not a bad man. I want him to read through everything and really think about it and how much I'm struggling and how desperately I need his help. So many of you agree with me that I can't do it all, and I'm very thankful I'm not alone in those thoughts. A year ago my husband got a really great job. He loves it. It over doubled our income. The problem is he's never here. It requires a lot of travel and he's gone more of the month than he's home. We have 3 kids. 8, 6, 3. We have 2 dogs. I am run ragged. I don't have any family to help me. I don't have time for friends. It's never ending. Cleaning, kids, cooking, kids, dogs, school, kids, cleaning, kids, cleaning, cooking, cleaning. No time for me whatsoever. Before my husband got this job we worked opposite schedules. I worked in a restaurant per bar in the evenings. Didn't pay great, but a couple really good friends worked there with me. It was how I socialized. Now that he's gone, I couldn't work that job since nobody watches kids at night. Now I work a part-time retail job I hate with what are essentially children, in comparison to me. I don't get to socialize like I used to. I only work the hours my kids are in school. But we have after-school activities, homework, dogs, dinner, never-ending chores, etc. There is no time for me. I don't even get to sleep alone since my 6-year-old has night terrors. When my husband was here, things felt more divided. I still did a lot during the day, but it wasn't never-ending. There would still be days I didn't have to worry about lunches or bath time or homework because my husband would pick up the slack. I could go out with friends from time to time. Don't even get me started on what it's like when the kids get sick and then I inevitably get sick. It's absolute misery and he's not around to see it. I'm left drowning. But he doesn't want to quit. He loves his job and that's fair. I can see he's way happier now, but what about me? Don't I matter? I don't know how I'm supposed to get through this. I demanded for the sake of my sanity he quit his job, but he exploded. He thinks we're doing better than ever. We could get a bigger house soon. We live in 2-bedroom rancher but I like it. That the kids will have so many more opportunities, etc., and he's not wrong, but what about me? Am I the asshole? If income is doubled, it's time for some hired help. Why not hire childcare and/or cleaning services a couple evenings a week? Yeah, of course he loves it. His responsibilities just got halved. Quit the job. Then you'll have time for you. He doesn't want to quit, then you quit. Judging by your comments here, it seems that you are more or less just squeaking by, can't afford things like a cleaning service or other forms of help. If that's the case, how would you expect to be able to afford things if he were to quit his job? Not the asshole. If he's not there to help you then he needs to hire someone. A cleaning service, a babysitter, whatever it is you need so you can have time for yourself.